welcome back to another week of the Blondest Podcast. I am your host, Savanna Boda.
I'm your co-host, Tyler Jacoby.
And we have a very special friend, a mentor, a friend, a sister, colleague, the queen of everything, Jacqueline Watchmaker. We're so excited to have you here. We first met her in LA. How many years ago? 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I think it was 2 years ago.
2023.
Yes.
It was like right after or right before your wedding.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, how can you be so young and beautiful and a doctor and have gone through all of the lives that you've lived and like still look so flawless and be so cool? Like, she is the coolest.
Oh my gosh, you're too sweet. I think the same thing about you.
Stop it. We love you.
Yes.
And she truly is amazing. So I'm going to let her introduce herself and kind of tell you a little bit about her background. And today we're going to be talking a lot about BioRewind, which is SkinBetter's new supplement, which Dr. Watchmaker helped conduct the clinical study. She did a lot of education for it. So she is like, if you want to know the nitty gritty about this, she is the source.
So thanks so much for having me on. I'm Jacqueline Watchmaker. I am a board certified dermatologist, and I mostly do aesthetic dermatology. So a lot of lasers, skincare, injectables as well. And I love talking about skincare, using skincare. I love working with SkinBetter. And I think they're a great company because they really, invest in the clinical research behind their products. And I've had the opportunity to work on some of the clinical trials with them. So I'm happy to be here.
I'm so excited. And she did the clinical trials as well for Maestro. She's done a ton, but Maestro I thought was one of the coolest that she's done. And just honestly, I think out of the whole portfolio of SkinBetter, besides Alpharet, I would say Maestro is like probably the most innovative and best results that I see, and just really big changes in people's skin.
I love Maestro, and all my friends, family, all of the nurses I work with, everyone loves it. And I always say it's like the only product I used consistently twice a day.
No, it is phenomenal.
I think especially dramatic results. Like that's the thing. It's like you can use the product for like
2 weeks and see
like a crazy difference.
Yeah, I love it. And I always, so I actually just had a clinical trial patient who was in the Maestro study come in this morning. And like, once they see the results and, are in the clinical trial, I hear them all the time coming back for more. And that's not always the case. Sometimes with clinical trials, if you try a new product, they'll like use it for the duration of the study and then they kind of give up. But like, very consistently, the patients, my own clinical patients, but also the study patients, they see the results and they want to continue it, which I think speaks highly of that product.
It does. And I think one of my favorite things, and I've quoted you a lot on this, is that you said, Maestro, you see better results with that for rosacea and redness and a lot of topicals that you would typically prescribe for your patients for rosacea, which is a huge statement and really is factual. I mean, I've had clients that were on prescription things for a very, very long time for rosacea. Nothing quite calmed and subdued their rosacea the way Maestro did.
Yeah, I love it for all rosacea patients, but even patients who don't have rosacea. And I love that it's like, a botanical blend.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think patients also feel safe and comfortable using it long term, unlike some of the other things that we sometimes need for rosacea. But yeah, love it.
I love that. Okay, so tell us dummy version. If somebody has never, well, not dummy, because why would we want to go dummy when we have the expert here? But like basics of what BioRewind is, what is glycation, what are AGEs? Like pretend I have never heard any of this before.
Okay, so BioRewind is basically an anti-glycation supplement. It's a supplement that helps improve skin health by preventing glycation and reversing glycation that's already there. And very basically, it uses different extracts of rosemary, this like proprietary core extract to achieve this. But if we're talking about what is glycation, that does get a little sciencey.
Yeah, go sciencey. We're ready.
Yeah, it's a non-enzymatic, so it doesn't need an enzyme to make this process occur in the body, but it's a non-enzymatic reaction that occurs in the body when a sugar, and sugars can be the most common one we think about is like glucose in the body, and a protein or a lipid. And proteins in the body that a lot of people are familiar with are like collagen. When they react and kind of bind together, and when this sugar and this protein react and combine together, that process is called glycation. And then kind of the end final product result of that glycation reaction is something called an advanced glycation end product, or we call them AGEs for short. And those AGEs, you can think of them as being like inflammatory and destructive throughout the body. They can basically go anywhere. I know with BioRewind, we talk about it primarily, or almost exclusively in the context of the skin, but glycation occurs in all of our organs throughout our body, including our skin. The skin, I think it's good that we talk about it mostly because the skin is very prone to glycation and the effects of these damaging AGEs for a few reasons. One, the kind of collagen and a lot of different components of the skin don't actually turn over as quickly as other cells in our body do. And also, UV damage sunlight contributes to glycation and the formation of these advanced glycation end products. So the skin kind of has a double whammy of why it really is prone to glycation, but all of our organs can have glycation. And I know I've mentioned this before, but as far as talking about glycation, an extreme example is like a diabetic patient. And I think a lot of people know people who have diabetes and they have eye issues, they have kidney issues, they have skin issues. They basically have nerve issues. They have issues throughout their body. And the primary driver is the advanced glycation end products. And that is because people with diabetes have super high levels of glucose circulating throughout their body, so that glucose and the proteins throughout their body are reacting and basically damaging their organs. So in everyone, even people without diabetes, there is some low level of glycation happening all the time. And it is one of the primary drivers of kind of why you age. So having kind of a tool, even for healthy young people, everyone has some glycation, and having a tool to kind of reverse and prevent that to some degree, I think is really powerful.
Yeah, and I think the coolest thing is glycation, I've heard the term thrown around in my skincare journey, but I've never really dove deep into it until this. It's always kind of just been something you hear about, but not really talked about because there wasn't a lot that could be done. There's things that can kind of help stop from furthering or getting worse, but there was nothing to actually reverse the damage that already occurred. And that, I think, is what is so important for those clients that are in their 50s and 60s and they've had this glycative damage for years and years and years. And it's okay, yeah, we can, with other products, stop it from getting worse. But what about if we turn back the time and actually start to, peel that glue off of those proteins and give it a chance, to come back to normal and in a more healthier state. So I think it's so amazing, and I've had such good feedback already from clients that are taking it now. It's been out for 2 months now, or maybe a month and a half. But I had a client literally only 4 weeks, and she was like, I literally look younger. I can see a difference, and her confidence is boosted, glow, redness, all of those things have improved. So it's pretty amazing. And I think, people, when we talk about supplements, a lot of stuff out there can be gimmicky. A lot of stuff can be, not FDA regulated, and, people are just make all these claims. But the thing I really appreciated about this specifically, and SkinBetter, I trust this company more than I trust my husband, because they are just so ethical and honest about everything they do, every step of the way. There are a lot of skincare companies out there, guys, that are scammers or trying to just get a quick buck or, harping on things, but SkinBetter has never been that way. If you knew the founder, Jonah, I've met him thousands of times. He calls me on my birthday every year. He is just a good human being, and Jacqueline has a very close relationship with him too. The way he's, and why I think SkinBetter has been so successful, is not only because the products are amazing, but they're not just going to throw something out there just for fun or just for money or for profit. They're really focused on making things that no one's done before and enhancing things that have already been done to make them different, more stable, more tolerable, and kind of just rewriting the skincare industry as a whole. Like, nobody can really keep up with them. Like, they just keep on pumping out things that were like never could even fathom happening. So anytime they have a new product launch, I'm like, I don't even have a first thought about what it could be, because it's always something that, you know, they find a problem, and SkinBetter's method is like, okay, here's a problem, how can we fix it? So I think it's really just, this product has been so cool.
Well, I think another thing about SkinBetter is, and you talked about this earlier, but like the clinical backing they have for every single one of their products. And, you know, I feel like so many times we encounter in this space companies that say they have clinical studies, clinical data, but then you dig a little bit deeper and it's like they had a pool of 8 people that they tried it on, 2 dropped out, and they're like, these are the results. And you're like, well.
And as a normal esthetician, you wouldn't know these things, you know? Like, I think a lot of my education came from working with SkinBetter closely, because they kind of peeled back the layer of like consumerism for me. And like, I didn't just see like, you know, oh, here's a product. Like, I got to see like kind of the back end of like how much goes into acquiring a technology and like then putting it into a formulation, and just like, you know, the clinical studies, the testing, and, you know, just regulations, and just so many like nitty gritty things that like I would never have known about. And so I don't fault any esthetician for that, because again, like, you want to trust your rep, you want to trust these companies, but a lot of it is smoke and mirrors, and a lot of it doesn't have any clinical testing or third-party testing. So, Jacqueline, I want you to kind of talk about this study, because it is so special. This is their most robust study that they've done, and you know way more about this because she's the one doing it. I just hear about it after the fact.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to segue to, was like, what is the difference between double-blind placebo study versus like someone doing, we have 8 patients over here and they tried it. It's great.
No, I totally agree with you guys. And I think, I mean, estheticians, but even dermatologists, sometimes, you know, reps come in and they like, you know, show a few before and after, sometimes with different lighting. And, you know, they never tell you, oh, this was 9 patients. And I think it's easy to like look at a beautiful before and after of one patient and be like, oh, this really works. But I think
my favorite is the reps being like, this is my personal photo at my house in my bathroom. I'm like, girl, like, come on, give me something better.
Yeah, we need Vizio. We need, double blind standardization. Yes. No. Totally. And I think, but unless you know what questions to ask and what to like look for when kind of like dissecting data from skincare companies, you only have to go off of what the reps tell you. And they're obviously trying to sell a product. So, but yeah, I think asking the right questions and knowing what to look for in studies is like so important when evaluating, you know, studies and clinical results. But yes, you're right. This product was like 6 years in the making. This study was kind of a 2-part study. It was a double-blind randomized clinical trial, and double-blind means the doctor who was dispensing the product didn't know if it was the actual supplement or if it was just kind of a placebo supplement. The supplements looked the same. They actually did like a capsule within a capsule. So it's not like, you know, someone was taking a little, you know, sugar pill and someone was actually getting the, you know, real capsule. They looked the exact same to both the doctor who was giving the study patients the supplement, and then also the patients didn't know if they were taking the actual supplement or the placebo. So that's what the double-blinded part means. And then the study, the patients took kind of 2-2-2. So 2 capsules 3 times a day initially, then 2 and 2, and then maintained at 1 capsule in the morning and 1 capsule at night. And it was a 12-week long study. There was over 100 participants in the study. So it was like huge. And they looked at tolerability, safety. They obviously looked at clinical endpoint from both the patient's perspective, the investigator's perspective, but also what makes this study really stand out, and this is kind of the second component of the study, is they did biopsies from the arm of a subset of patients, and they sent these to a different lab. It was actually, I think, in Italy, and they had blinded people in the lab look at the studies, and they looked at different markers in the skin and from patients who were on the placebo and patients who were actually on the supplement. And they looked at different kind of oxidative stress markers as well as different markers that looked at advanced glycation end products. And it's important that it was blinded because, I think there is some placebo effect in any study, but the people who received these biopsy samples were completely blinded. They didn't know if they were looking at a biopsy from the placebo group or from the supplement group. And they found that both the oxidative stress markers and the advanced glycation end product markers were improved in the patients who were on the actual supplement and not the placebo. So I think that's really, really powerful data to have the investigator who was blinded see an improvement in the patient's results. The patients who were on the supplement saw an improvement based or compared to the placebo group. And then this other lab also saw an improvement on the biopsy samples. So I think it was like a very elegantly done study, and all of the data points to, that this product really does work.
That's amazing. Yeah, I never knew. Like, I thought when people we have like white papers, like, explain that, because that used to throw me for a loop when they're like, oh yeah, we have like white papers. What is a white paper? What does that mean?
White papers, you always have to take with a little grain of salt. They're like usually industry sponsored papers that basically, I don't believe they're peer reviewed. So basically, like, and I'm pretty sure this is correct, but basically, they're usually it's good data, but it's not like someone else is outside and like reviewing this data to ensure it's accurate. And I also think these papers by SkinBetter were published like in a peer-reviewed journal. White papers you can kind of just put out.
It's like marketing materials, basically.
Yeah. It's like scientific marketing material. Yeah. They're not bad, and you can learn some good things from them. You do have to kind of look at them, I think, with a different lens than papers that are actually published in actual, medical journal.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. It's crazy to me. There are like so many things I feel like in the industry that we just, with some, we see changes in our patients. So like, hey, we don't need like a clinical study on it. But I think what was so important with this, like such a big claim, like reverse glycation has never been said before, never been done before. That's a big thing to say. So it's important that they did their due diligence and, invested so much in these studies and got them peer reviewed and made sure they were non-biased and all of the things to prove the results. And it's honestly, to me, one of those products that has really changed the industry. And I think it's hard for some people to like grasp the concept now because it's so new. And I feel like SkinBetter does that with so many things. Like, it took Alpharet such a long time for people to comprehend that. Like, I used to get so much backlash. Like, you can't say that. Like, that's not true. There's no such thing as a retinoid that isn't irritating. Or, you can't have retinoic acid, in your practice. It has to be prescribed and all of the things.
You can't use an AHA with
or you can't use an AHA with a retinoid. Like, just so many things. Or you can't use a vitamin C with the retinoid, and you can with SkinBetter. So I think it's just really cool how they've kind of gone against the grain and like just shown, through science that and results in studies that, you can do these things, and, skincare and the skincare world and what we have access to and how we can amplify results has changed so much than back in the day. Because I feel like for a really long time before SkinBetter, I feel like everything was just so boring. Like, it was like everyone was kind of doing the same thing. And SkinBetter was like, okay, let's shake this up. Like, how can we make this industry better and bring more science and technology? And, we're really lucky that Jonah like had the money and the funding for it, because a lot of these lines, like, it's hard to start a skincare line. It's hard to acquire technologies if you don't have money. So that's why most of the lines, we see, they're good, but like, you really got to have some capital backing to like make products like SkinBetter.
Yeah, 100%. And they're not gonna, like you said before, just put anything out. There's like so much thought and behind the scenes kind of work that goes into it.
I wanted to ask you with Maestro, how many times did they try to do a formulation? I can't remember the number. I know I knew it at one point.
I know.
Wasn't it like 96 times or something like that?
think it was something crazy. And I tested more than one formulation as well, kind of in our clinic. And they just kept going back to the drawing board until it was like perfect.
Perfect. Because that was what? How many years was that one?
How many years in the making was it? I'm not exactly sure, but more than one for sure.
Yeah.
I worked on it for, I think, a good year before it came to market. And I know it, obviously people were working on it before it even kind of got brought to me clinical trials. So
amazing.
Yeah, they like, and I think it takes so much time and energy to every single formulation. And I think some companies would be like, oh, it's good enough. Like we've spent enough time, we've spent enough money. Let's just like
get it to market. Yeah.
And they are like, no, like let's go back. Let's redo it until it's
refining foam cleanser. I'm just kidding. That was not a formulation issue. That was the cap was just not capping.
Oh yeah, but
the pump was not pumping.
I'm obsessed with the new one. I actually just ran out this morning.
I know, it is so good. I think it took me a bit to adjust because I was just such.
She was the biggest oxygen. I mean,
like that was my child. Like I literally thought it was like when Michelle called me and was like, "I have some news for you." Like I was hoping it was a death and not death of Oxygen Wash.
The death of Oxygen Wash. Yeah, I mean, I loved Oxygen Wash too, but
I was like, "You're kidding." I was like, "No, that has to be a joke." Like that was her telling me like Trio was gone. I was like,
"Oh yeah."
Personally, I like refining foam better. Oxygen Wash was too strong for me.
But okay, so here was my thing on that with him is he's on like a bunch of actives already. For someone like me who really doesn't use a lot of actives, like it was great because that was like all I really needed, you know?
That and Alpharet.
And Alpharet, yeah.
Yeah. I like both, but I might be with Tyler on this one a little bit.
Yeah, he's a big refining foam fan. I'm getting there, you know, it's just like when you miss your ex, but like more time with the new boy, like you start to realize like maybe he's better. I don't know. But then at night you like kind of dream about your ex. Like that's how I feel about Oxygen Wash. I'm like, just one more time. If we could be together. Okay, so tell me, what were the biggest things or what are some of the biggest things that glycation can show on the skin? Like what are like some of the like markers that you see and you can tell like, okay, someone's experiencing this?
Yeah. You can to think of like an extreme example of glycation. I like to think of like an old smoker or like, Caucasian woman in their 60s who's been chain smoking for
Tyler's
years.
Mom. Oh.
If you look at their skin, there's pigmentation, there's like sallowness, which is like kind of like a yellow discoloration. It's just not bright. They're kind of puffy. There's wrinkles. So like that's obviously the extreme example, but everyone, even people who are young and healthy and eat healthy and don't smoke, they'll have some component of kind of those markers of glycation, be it pigmentation or dullness or some puffiness or a little bit of that kind of like yellow aged sallowness. So all glycation can contribute to kind of all of that. Also, glycation and those advanced glycation end products are inflammatories. And as we know with the skin, anything that causes, inflammation can cause the skin, barrier to not function optimally. It can cause some redness and inflammation in the skin. There's so many different skin conditions like acne and rosacea and even somewhat melasma that has inflammation kind of at its core. So this product, I think, can kind of globally help the skin and any skin disease process that has inflammation associated with it, which honestly is
everything.
Yeah. I think we would potentially be helped with this. Of course, SkinBetter hasn't studied it in, a subset of patients with rosacea or with acne or anything like that. So the company can't make any claims, but just from my perspective, I think it would be able to help anyone struggling with kind of like any skin concern. And also I love, it's a supplement. So we always, talk about our face skin, sometimes our neck skin, but the supplement is systemic. So it's, affecting all of our skin. So I have so many patients, even in their especially like late 30s, 40s, who are starting to notice like, just the skin on their, chest and arms and even like their knees isn't as like bouncy and youthful and vibrant as it used to be. And I do think this is it's sometimes hard to moisturize and put active all over your whole body. So I think this is like a really great, relatively easy way to kind of address your whole skin health, not just your face, obviously your face too. But.
I love that. What were you going to say?
Oh no, I just said, wow.
Wow. My question, and I know they didn't study this and it's like, you can't claim this, but just from your brain and understanding the dosing of this, Do you feel like it could help with the organs and all over glycation more than just the skin?
I do.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, I'm saying that from my standpoint and not SkinBetter
Said
standpoint.
me, Jacqueline Watchmaker, not SkinBetter included. I'm saying this. Yeah.
I mean, again, I don't like anecdotal evidence because it's not helpful, but I have been taking BioRewind for, I think, over 6 months now. And I just went to my primary care doctor. And if people who know me, I'm not like the beacon of health. I love Taco Bell. I mean, I work out occasionally. Like, I'm good with sunscreen, but like diet, especially, like I ate 3 scoops of ice cream last night. Like I like the glycation.
You live your life, baby. I'm the same way. I ate Domino's last night.
And I like got all my labs drawn, and my PCP was like, wow, I haven't seen like labs this good in like a really long time. And I was like, I eat Taco Bell like once every week. Is that okay? And she literally was like, double it, do whatever you want.
That's amazing.
Whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because like she was like, based on your labs,
like you're the epitome of health.
Yeah. And I mean, I have to think, and again, totally anecdotal, we can't make any claims on this, but like I do think it probably is helping. It is helping more than just our skin.
Yeah. And of course, SkinBetter is studying it for the skin, but that's kind of what I was thinking too. And with the rosmarinic acid as well, my esthetician, not my esthetician, but like the girl that works for me, that's my esthetician, her mom started taking it, and not only her skin, but her hair has grown so much. Like her hairdresser is like, you have to come get your grays covered like once a week now.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I think it has like potential benefits like way outside of what's been studied. But I'm excited to continue to learn more, especially as it's been out longer, and hopefully
more people get their hands on it. Yeah. So I think that's so important.
I have a question, because I am not as deep in it as y'all are. So when it comes to glycation, was this always like a big topic, or was this like kind of a smaller topic because there was nothing
you could do
that you could do? Or is this something, I mean, I'm sure maybe in more of the medical side when it came to like diabetes or stuff like that, but I guess in relation to skin health, was glycation like? I
think, and I know, Savanna, you said it's like
kind of tossed around, but it never was like
a huge thing. And that honestly, like I go to a ton of dermatology conferences. Like if people are going to talk about it, I'm going to hear about it. And in the dermatology world too, it's been talked about a little bit. It's been thrown around a little bit, but it's not like people are going on stage or giving talks like specifically on glycation, at least not often. I do think it is kind of in the world of dermatology, something that over the past, 5 years is now just kind of getting more traction, and there's more data and more, studies being done, like you mentioned, in kind of like the diabetes, Alzheimer's, more kind of systemic medical space. It's obviously been studied a lot, but like the focus on skin, I think, is relatively newer. And so I'm excited for it to kind of continue, and more studies to be done on it, because I do think it's like an under discussed but very important topic.
Yeah. And honestly, I think the coolest thing about it is like, sadly, like me included and the majority of the population, like our like inner health could be like shit, and we'll care more about like our hair and our skin. So I think like just people that would take it out of, more vanity side of like, okay, I want to start taking this supplement for my skin, actually could end up helping their health long term too. Like, of course, that wasn't studied how it can help the other organs, but like, I mean, come on, kind of put 2 and 2 together, like it's going to help everything, my opinion. So I think that's really cool. I think that's kind of getting people's like a little shoe in the door, because of course, like we're always like, what do we see first? We don't worry about the consequences of what's happening inside our body because we can't see it. But if we see our skin, and we're worried about that, or worried about like the aging effects of it, we're more likely to take it. I mean, I know that's how I am. Like, I'll take a supplement for that before I'll take a supplement or anything for like my headache or like gut health or anything. Like literally me getting forehead acne was like what started me getting a probiotic in my body. So I was like, anything else I didn't care. I'm like, my constant diarrhea, it's fine. The second my forehead starts breaking out, I'm like, probiotic today. So I think that's amazing. Okay, we have a couple minutes left, so I wanted to ask you about the Biotin, because that's been, I think when it first came out was a little bit of like people were worried about it type of thing, and then now that it's been out, I feel like, and I've said a million times how I feel about it, it's kind of died down. So why did they add Biotin? Is it going to cause acne for acne prone people? What is the recommended daily value? And comparing it to like Nutrafol, what are your thoughts?
It's like the tiniest little sprinkle. It's like the tiniest little whiff. Like I think in BioRewind it's like 3 micrograms if I'm not mistaken, and in
I think it's
Nutrafol it's
two,
like
right? I think it's
2,
two.
maybe two.
Yeah.
You're right. I think 2, and I think in Nutrafol it's like 3,000 or like
Yeah.
some like crazy exponential
Yeah.
amount more in Nutrafol. And in this study, there was no, patients who broke out with like acne, and then just, you know, anecdotally, clinically, do tend to be a little bit more acne prone, and I have taken it for a long time. I've had no issues, and my patients who have been on it, I mean, they haven't been on it for too long yet, but I haven't had any complaints to date of it. So I think SkinBetter told me, the reason they put it in is because, the esthetician community is very smart, and, we know that, a high amount of biotin has the potential to, maybe cause some breakouts. I do think the general population doesn't really know
They
that.
hear biotin and freak out. Yeah.
I don't think the yeah. And so I think SkinBetter put just like a whiff in it just to kind of identify it as a skin supplement, but I really don't think it should be a concern at all. Like 2 versus 3,000, like there's no comparison.
No, it's like a little tiny drop. And then also too, what we talked about in our live together is like whatever negative effect it could have, like the other ingredients in the supplement would counteract that. And that's kind of how I feel about some pore clogging ingredients. When people are like, oh, well, this has like a pore clogger, I'm like, okay, but the exfoliation and antibacterial properties of these other ingredients in the formula is going to counteract whatever small percentage of this pore clogger is. Or, I think everything's like devil in the dosing, and nothing in life is white or black. And so, yeah, I think even if it did have a higher amount of biotin, I think a lot of the anti-inflammatory components of BioRewind would counteract that. But again, it's so minute, guys. Like it is like not even worth even mentioning or putting on the bottle. That's how small it is.
I agree. And like you said, like rosmarinic acid is like, it's like anti-inflammatory, antibacterial. I think there's even some like antiviral properties. So like all of like the inflammation that is at the core of acne, the rosmarinic acid and the kind of the positive beneficial effects of this supplement, I think are going to way outweigh the tiny potential that this like whiff of biotin is going to have.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're about at time, but tell us any last closing thoughts or anything you want to leave our listeners with. Where can they find you? Your favorite color?
My favorite color is probably turquoise.
Okay,
or
slay.
pink.
Okay, that's so Arizona of you.
I know, I love turquoise. And I practice in Scottsdale, Arizona. You can find me here. I'm the only Jacqueline Watchmaker around, so you can Google me. My Instagram, I think, is at Dr. Jacqueline Watchmaker.
If you go to my following, you'll find her too.
If you live in Arizona, anywhere in the whole state, honestly.
Yeah, you got to go see her.
Yeah.
She's amazing. I really feel like, even though I love that you're a dermatologist, I feel like in another life you should have been a watchmaker. Because that would have been so iconic.
I know.
Is that your married name?
No, I didn't change it.
So
it's one of my sisters changed it, but most of us kept it. It's too good to switch.
No, I love it. It's so fun. It's a good last name, and it's like a memorable one too.
Thank you.
Well, we love you. She has to go get back to her clinic today. She has a lot of more important things to do than chit chat with us rascals. But we love you, and hopefully we get to see you in person soon. I'm sure we'll have something come up, or we'll just have to fly down and have a girls' weekend with you.
Yeah, come have a spa weekend.
Yes, we definitely will. We love you. Thank you so much for doing this. You are phenomenal. You guys are literally just got blessed by the best. She is so smart. Like, it blows my mind.
Thanks, guys.
We love you. Bye. Have a good day.
Bye.
Salt of the earth.
No, like
kindest
from the
human.
second we met her.
I was like, they're like, oh, like one of the doctors that conducts clinical trials is coming to the center. I'm like, oh, they're probably going to be like boring. Oh, no. It's not boring.
No, because there was like 20 people at this thing we were invited to, and we were stuck to her at the end. Like,
we were like,
that was our
where
person.
You go, we go.
Yeah.
But she's just so intelligent and just so beautiful, so smart, and just kind. I think, anytime I hear doctors, I'm like, get a little nervous because a lot of them can have really big egos, and just, especially for me, like a little fucking Esty that went to school for 7 months, and then Tyler, who is just a placebo esthetician, basically.
Hey, I'm your esthetician, so
he is my
watch yourself.
esthetician. That is true. Yeah, they could be like, why would I want to like waste my time with you? Like, you're so beneath me. But she's just not like that at all. Like, she's just an angel. I love her. I love her more than I love BioRewind. I stand by that. But I do love BioRewind a lot. And you guys can get it on our SkinBetter link if you want to try it.
Absolutely.
And
Link in bio.
Reversing that glycation.
Or you can always request a quote on our website too, if you want some other goodies.
Explain that, Tyler, because that confuses a lot of people.
I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory, but if you go on any of our SkinBetter products, you'll have two options. It'll say request a quote, which means that we will fulfill it. We'll receive your request and you can select the sizing. This is the only way also that you can get SkinBetter travel sizes, because SkinBetter doesn't sell their travel sizes directly on their website. So if you're looking to, get a 15 ml of Alto Advanced, then come to our website to do that, because again, you can't purchase it on SkinBetter's website. So you'll just literally hit request a quote or request order, click on it, and then you'll see all the different sizes. Normally it's like 1.7 ounces, 1 ounce, and then you have the smallers. You add the quantity, and then it'll say, do you want to add other items to your quote, or do you want to submit your quote? And then you fill out your information. It'll send us your contact information, similar to like when you're filling out to check out anywhere. So first name, last name, email, phone number, you name it. It won't charge you then. It'll send it to us, and then we will email you back an invoice. Or there's the second link below that says shop this product on SkinBetter, and that's through Savanna's portal on SkinBetter's website. They fulfill those orders. That's great. If you're not looking for travel sizes, if you're looking to take advantage of the promos, SkinBetter basically always has a promo going. So if you spend a certain amount of money, you can get a free 15 ml Alto Advanced and a free Tone Smart lotion, whatever promo they're running that month. We don't get those promos in our clinic. So if you want to take advantage of that, shop through SkinBetter's website. And if you want a pretty pink package with an affirmation card and some SBA stickers and some travel sizes, then shop through SBA.
Slay.
Okay, we love you guys.
Have a blessed Monday. We love you.